This is CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about.
Happy July, Madison. It is time for our monthly guide on the best things to do and eat this month, plus our theme picks, which for July is how to beat this heat. I am executive producer Haley Sperling, filling in for your host, Bianca Martin, and joining me today is our newsletter editor, Rob Thomas. Hello, Rob.
Hi, Haley.
Happy July. And your favorite CityCast Madison producer and mine, Jade Isiri Ramos, is in the house. Hello, Jade.
Hi, Haley. Happy to be here.
Woo! Alrighty, let's dive right into this guide because we've got a lot of stuff to go through. I'm kicking things off here with our theme picks, how to beat the heat, because it is hot outside right now. Actually, dangerously hot. We talked about this on the podcast earlier this week. Take precautions. So we kind of figured what better way to get into this July guide with giving you guys insights on how to beat the heat. And I'm thinking that we cool off with a drink that can transport you to the beach. I'm talking tiki. My favorite tiki bar in Madison is long gone, unfortunately, RIP Tiki Shack. But there are still plenty of places that you can get your tropical fix this summer. And, while the weather is hot, hot, hot right now and you want to stay indoors, I've got my eyes set on The Perch, which is the latest venture from the folks behind Mint Mark. It's located on the upper floors of the Eastern, which is the same building as where Mint Mark is now. It's got tiki vibes, indoor and outdoor seating to keep you cool. If you want to get in with the hot temperature, this rooftop bar has some pretty solid views of East Wash and the Capitol kind of out in the distance. I think they did a good job. I was looking at their Instagram where they had a photo of the view from their outside deck, and they kind of put up a little bit of fencing so you don't just look at East Wash. You get to see more of the greenery, of the grass, of the park, and everything going on there. So I am super excited about that one. And aside from The Perch, there are a few other spots that you can get your tiki fix this month. The East Side Club does have a literal tiki bar that is on the beach of Lake Monona. Maybe you've seen it from the Old Brick Beer Garden. This was a big plus to my Madison is a beach town argument. If you guys recall that, folks are still getting hot in the comments about that one. No, they're not. But if you do, let us know. The tiki bar is open 7 days a week at the East Side Club, and they do serve food until 7:30. And if you head a little bit further east, the Jade Monkey Cocktail Lounge over on Cottage Grove Road also has a killer mojito selection. And to me, nothing screams beach vibes more than a mojito. So I don't know about y'all. Do y'all have a favorite tiki drink?
I'm going to go with the pina colada, mostly because there's a truly insane song called the Pina Colada Song about infidelity. And I just love any drink that would inspire that level of commitment.
Yeah, pina colada is real classic. I don't think you can go wrong there. I like a Mai Tai too. I feel like it always feels limey and yummy.
Yeah, big points too, I think for me, to a daiquiri, either strawberry or the classic, a shaken lime. Jade, how are you beating the heat this July?
Yeah, Haley, the way that I am beating the heat this month is by reading. Currently, I am reading Yesteryear by Caro Claire Burke, which is a novel about a tradwife influencer who is suddenly transported to the mid-1800s. It's a New York Times bestseller, and according to my Instagram feed, it is truly the read of the summer. But I've really been indoors in the AC reading my book, and I'm happy. But when I was a kid, I was always doing the summer reading programs at my local library. And now as an adult, I'm always trying to capture that feeling, looking for, frequent trips to the library, reading at parks or by the pool, in my hammock in the backyard, and staying up late, under the covers with my book light reading. Did either of you ever participate in summer reading programs as kids?
Was the Pizza Hut one a summer reading program? I'm trying to remember because I definitely did that where if you read a certain number of books, you get a free personal pan pizza.
I think that was usually tied with schools.
Yeah, okay.
It was more of a school thing, not a library thing.
That sounds cool though. I mean, I
good.
definitely, we definitely had school challenges where it was read, if you did 50 books or something, you would get a pizza party for your class. It all comes back to the pizza party, right?
Pizza party, yeah.
Yeah.
Haley, did you ever do a summer reading program with your library?
Not specifically with the library. My library, maybe it wasn't that cool back in the day.
Well, the Madison Public Library is that cool of a library. They have a year-round reading program called We Read. But in the summer program, they have this map, which is illustrated by friend of the podcast, Emily Balsley, where kids can set their own goals. They can include, reading activities, but also activities like attending a program at the library or doing an art project at the Bubbler. And once they reach their goal, they get a special embroidered badge. So pretty cool. And the library itself is just a great place to beat the heat. I think we shouted this out on yesterday's podcast. We're really talking about the library as a spot to enjoy the AC and stay cool this week, especially while it's really, really hot. And there's also our local bookstores in town to beat the heat. Speaking of, Lake City Books is moving and holding a grand opening celebration on July 17th, 18th, and 19th. They are basically just moving from one side of the Capitol to the other, and they'll now have an outdoor patio and a wine bar. So a great place to read and beat the heat as well this July.
Yeah, the photos I've seen of the new place, the owner, Molly Fish, has been posting on Instagram. It looks really cool. It's a really cool looking bookstore.
I also saw in some Isthmus reporting that they are going to work with Square Wine to develop their wine program. And I really love that. They're not competing with the, wine bar that's already there, but instead sort of, all ships rise.
We love a little symbiotic relationship there. I love that. Outdoor patio, wine bar, and books. Sounds like a little downtown Leopold's happening over here. Super fun. Rob, what are you bringing this July?
Well, keeping the theme somewhat high-minded with libraries, I want to talk about museums, and particularly the Madison Museum of Contemporary Art. When it gets really hot out, I think air-conditioned museums are the way to go. There's something just so cool about the big spaces, and, they're so austere. It just feels really great to just get in there for a couple of hours. Unfortunately, the Chazen Museum of Art is closed this summer. They've been renovating, and they're moving around to put the art back on walls in time for fall. But Momoka is open on State Street, and this summer they have a couple programs. They're really trying to not just be a place to go see art, but a place to maybe linger and make it a little more like a third space. This summer they've got this really colorful exhibit called Extended Play, which celebrates post-war American abstract art. And in conjunction, every Thursday this summer, they're setting up tables in every gallery with card games and board games. And so you can look at art and then just sit down and play a game of, Trivial Pursuit or Whist or something like that. You can play it with your friends, or maybe you'll meet somebody at the museum and get to know each other over a game together. So I think that's a really cool idea, a very different way of thinking about going to the museum, right? And then on Saturdays, they have what they call Saturday Sketching Series, where they'll have drawing kits where you can just pick one up and go find a nook or a gallery where you feel inspired and just do some doodling or some drawing, something like that. And then when you're done, share it with the museum, and they might put it on their social media pages. So I just think it's a really cool idea to make a museum something, like I said, like a third space to hang out this summer.
Yeah, we have been including the Saturday Sketch Series in our events every week. And this week I called just to make sure it was happening on Saturday. And who knew the Momoka is open on 4th of July. So you can even celebrate your holiday there.
Love it.
I do love the idea of turning the museum into a third space, because I do, Momoka has had sort of a troubled past in terms of its relationship with the community and the greater Madison community at large. And so opening the doors and saying we want to be a space for you. We want to be a space for you to come and hang out and express your creativity. Good for them. I'd
be remiss in not pointing out that Momoka is also hosting Art Fair in the Square, one of the big art events of the summer. It's outside on the square on July 11th and 12th. And of course, Art Fair off the square happens at the same time.
We've got a lot more community festivals to talk about coming up around the corner. And I don't know about you guys, but I am feeling cooler already. So we are going to dive into our picks on what to do and what to eat this month. But first, a quick break.
Hi, I'm David Plotz. I'm the CEO of CityCast, a podcast network that includes this show you're listening to, and also 12 other CityCasts in 12 other cities. And each one knows their city as well as your local team knows yours. So isn't it time we connected them? Don't you want to know how they're tackling their bike lane problems and housing challenges and sidewalk dog poop crises? That's why I'm hosting a new podcast called Your City Could Be Better. Because it could be. Every week, I'll chat with a different host in our CityCast network about what their cities are doing right and wrong, the weird things they're trying, and the surprising successes, so that we can all learn how to make our cities a little bit better. Listen to Your City Could Be Better on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
Alrighty, we are back with some things to do this July. And Rob, you are kicking us off with a show for the ages. What is going on?
Yeah, for those about to rock this summer, and that's spelled R-A-W-K, we salute you. The hard rock band AC/DC is playing the biggest summer concert in Madison this year at Camp Randall on July 19th. It's the only stadium show here this summer. You might remember that last summer Coldplay played one night there and Morgan Wallen played 2 nights. So AC/DC is coming to Madison on its Power Up tour. So expect to hear Back in Black, Thunderstruck, all their biggest, most rocking hits. I saw AC/DC back at the Kohl Center. I think it was like in 2004. And like they deliver their goods. Like they just play the songs that people want to hear as loudly as they possibly can. I do remember seeing them in 2004 and thinking, well, this is probably the last time they'll be through town. And over 20 years later, here they are. And I got to say, by like the ticket prices are not that crazy, at least compared to Coldplay last summer. At Camp Randall, you can get a seat on the field for between $240, $280. Sounds like a lot, but I think it was at least double that for Coldplay and Morgan Wallen. Or you can go up in the stands and there's some tickets available for between $80, $100, $150, something like that. And I don't know how hot it's going to be, but if you know AC/DC, you know Angus Young, the guitarist, plays in an English schoolboy outfit, which means he'll have shorts on. So it feels like he's been preparing 50 years to play a really hot show in Madison.
How old are the members of AC/DCs now?
I did look this up. Angus Young is a youthful 71. And the lead singer, Brian Johnson, is a spry 78.
Wow. Imagine. Oh, wow. That is a life to live.
I mean, the Rolling Stones are in their 80s now, right? So they're pretty, by comparison, AC/DC is pretty young.
True.
Rock and roll is a lifestyle. It does not quit, obviously. That was also, Jade, your question, the first thing that I was like, how old are these guys? But wow, I mean, it's probably going to be a great show. And yeah, those ticket costs are, it feels like a lot, but it's really not. I mean, I paid twice that much for a pit seat, like to be on the field for a My Chemical Romance show in Chicago last year. So like $280 to see AC/DC up close, like that's not bad. That's not bad at all. And I've got some picks for us to get into this month too. June really officially kicked off the neighborhood festival season in Madison, but this month there's a party somewhere just about every weekend. So I want to dive right into it. First up, this weekend is the Monona Community Festival running July 3rd and 4th at Winnequa Park. Folks can expect music, art, and fireworks. Plus, our very own Jade Isiri Ramos will be there. Jade, what's going down at the Monona Community Festival?
Well, we love our Monona Community Festival here in Monona. And I don't know if you guys remember, but a couple years ago, they thought it was going to end. They thought that the last one ever was going to be thrown in 2024 and really came out and said, like, we just don't have the volunteers to help. To which my husband and I said, well, we will volunteer to help. Like, what do you need?
Volunteer, yeah.
We volunteer. And so, last year we helped with a couple setup opportunities and also volunteered for drag bingo, helped set up, make sure that everyone got their bingo cards, made sure it was a great time for the drag performer, Cynthia Moose Knuckle. And they apparently thought we did a really good job because they immediately signed us up again this year. So this is happening on the 4th of July at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And it's free. So free bingo, great prizes. Cynthia Moose Knuckle, who's like premier drag bingo royalty in town, and myself and my friends volunteering. So come see it.
We love it. What is more patriotic on 4th of July than drag bingo? You can't tell me anything. There's more coming up this month, too. The next party that's coming around the bend is La Fête de Marquette, everyone's favorite, and it's celebrating 20 years this year. This festival runs July 9th through 12th at McPike Park, and as per usual, you can expect a bunch of music and French vibes. Plus, on Thursday, July 9th, myself and CityCast Madison senior account executive Chris Adams will be holding down a bartending shift at the Everything Else Cafe. So, if you like wine, seltzers, THC drinks, kombucha, and all of that good stuff, come say hi. Let me pour you a drink. We will be there that Thursday from about 4 to 7 p.m. and just having a good time. I'm super stoked. Rob, you already mentioned that weekend is also Art Fair on the Square, so there's a lot going on. Folks should know that the Dane County's Farmers Market will be held at Breeze Stevens Field that weekend to accommodate. But scooting back to FET, Rob, I know there are a few bands that you're excited about at FET. Are you planning on hitting up the festival this year?
Yeah, absolutely. There's Los Lobos, which is, speaking of veteran bands, just a great band. I saw them at the Stone Opera House in March, and they had not lost a step. They're playing the big stage, the Sun Stage, Thursday, and then they're coming back on Sunday. Shamika Copeland, who's a fantastic blues singer, she's playing Friday. She's headlining. And then just like so many good, like, Zydeco bands and bands from New Orleans and bands from sort of French inspired, like you said, like the whole French diaspora, along with fantastic local bands like Fat Function and VO5. And, it's just, I think there's like up to like 6 stages of music on like Fridays and Saturday. It's really incredible how much they're packing in. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, truly can't wait for that one. It's going to be a hoot and a half. They're bringing Bastille Day vibes to McPike Park, which you don't always see, but you will once a year at Fête de Marquette. The last neighborhood festival I wanted to shout out that's happening this month is Atwood Fest. That's coming up on July 25th and 26th. And I'm hoping that all y'all listening will come through because CityCast Madison will have a whole table there. Folks from the team, including myself, will be there. So come say hi. We'll probably have stickers. We'll want to chat. Maybe we'll have a mic out, get you on the podcast. So Atwood Fest, July 25th and 26th. It's going to be a party.
I'll be there. Come see me.
And, speaking of places where CityCast Madison staff will be, Jade, you have our last pick, which is actually a pretty exciting one for us.
Yeah, so the to-do that I'm bringing this month is the Golden Hour Reclaiming Our Crown Award event hosted by Urban Triage. That's gala-style brunch on Sunday, July 19th from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Madison Club. And our very own host, Bianca Martin, and CityCast Madison will receive the Reclaiming Our Voice Award. And let me read a little bit from the event website. They say, Bianca Martin is a living example of Black brilliance. As a driving force at CityCast Madison, she has built and sustained a media platform rooted in community ownership, authentic storytelling, and the unapologetic amplification of voices that deserve to be heard. CityCast Madison speaks for the people, creates space for the people, and is led by someone who believes deeply in the power and dignity of the people. I have like little goosebumps about this.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I mean, this is huge for Bianca. It is huge for us, to have that recognition and just to be seen, I guess, by the city and by Urban Triage, especially. Folks may recall we had their CEO and founder, Brandy Grayson, on the podcast earlier this year for a really candid conversation with Bianca about her arrest and being a Black leader in Madison and what Brandy sees as, what Madison needs to do to support these underserved communities and whatnot.
I also just want to note that we are in really good company. Publisher of Madison 365, Henry Sanders, will receive the Black Brilliance Golden Hour of Truth Award, and proceeds from this event will go to support Urban Triage's core programs.
A good event with a good cause at heart. We absolutely love to see it. We are going to be dishing on our top July eats in just a moment, so stay close and we'll be right back. Alrighty, we are back and we are talking about our picks to eat this July. And while Pride Month may be over, I am still drinking iced coffee all year round, if you know what I'm saying. There is a new Arkansas-based coffee chain that has opened up on the east side over on Lean Road called Seven Brew. It is a, quote, drive-through experience made for coffee lovers of every kind, including your pets. So, get your dog in the car and go get some coffee, I guess is what they want. They are explicitly drive-through, which I think is kind of a cool concept for folks who are just like, let me get in and get out. I kind of love that. They do not at this location have any indoor seating or a lobby. So kind of cool concept there. This is Seven Brew's first Madison location, but there are already a few others in Wisconsin. So maybe you've seen it around. They really pride themselves on having an insane drink menu. And it's like actually insane. There are like tens of thousands of combinations you can get, from coffee to smoothies and shakes and energy drinks and sodas. Like, this place has it all. And as they say, don't forget to ask for a pup cup.
Do you need that many options at a drive-through place? Like, I'm concerned I would get this decision paralysis trying to figure out what to have.
Literally.
Yeah, this is definitely a place where you like look at the menu on your phone beforehand and you know what you're going to order when you show up. Okay, so here's my thing about Seven Brew, and this is like pretty niche, but from the amount of like Oregon license plates I see in town, I'm not alone, so maybe other folks feel this way. This is a Dutch Bros ripoff. Dutch Bros is like a relatively large franchise that started in Oregon and has now expanded to several states, and they are exactly this model. There's a drive-through. They have like coffee, but they also have energy drinks and like blended and all the flavors you could ever want. And the people are like so friendly. They would like climb into your car and like go off with you, which is something I've heard about Seven Brew. And, you know, I love that for Seven Brew, but like, I'm afraid to go to Seven Brew and just be like, this is not a Dutch Bros, and be disappointed. So that's really my niche thing behind Seven Brew. I'll go just to see like the difference, but I'm worried it's going to be just like a not as good Dutch Bros.
Maybe we can do the drive-through together and you can give me a play-by-play on the Dutch Bros experience, and we can do a little catalog of how Seven Brew is different. I did just pull up the Dutch Bros menu, and like, yes, it looks very similar to Seven Brew. Rob, your pick for this month is screaming my name. What do you got?
That's right. Summer's all about ice cream. Madison is blessed with a lot of great ice cream shops, from the big heavyweights like the Chocolate Shop to these more artisanal parlors. You guys remember last year we all got together in the studio and ranked different flavors from across the city?
How could we forget? That was my favorite work day of the... that was just my favorite work day.
Yeah, that was good. Well, one of our CityCast Madison neighbors, Jack, heard that and called in recently to share some of his favorite spots for getting ice cream.
I heard your episode about ice cream a couple weeks ago, and I really liked it, and I thought I might chime in by walking you through a history of my favorite ice cream places. So when I was a little kid, grew up not too far from the western side of Monroe Street. And, we used to go to Michael's a lot, Michael's Frozen Custard. That was the place to go for some delicious frozen vanilla goodness or whatever the hot flavors were then. The other place I liked going to was Monona Bait and Tackle, where, of course, they serve Babcock ice cream as they do at the Union. So definitely grew up having my share of orange custard chocolate chip and Union Utopia. But more recently, I've really been digging Ice Cream Social. I saw that you guys went there too. Birthday cake around the summer months, that's definitely my favorite because I love bright colors. I love vanilla and birthday cake chunks and all that sweet goodness. Thanks again for all the good work you guys do.
I love Jack.
I love that so much.
I just ran into him Saturday at the Madison Jazz Festival. He hadn't told me he'd send that in, so that's really cool. Might have a new memory for Jack to add to his ice cream biography, and there's a new ice cream shop in Sun Prairie. Asteria Ice Cream just opened on Main Street. They serve up house-made ice cream flavors made from premium Wisconsin dairy and locally sourced ingredients, which means Like if you buy their coffee ice cream, you can be confident that they're getting the cold brew from the Beans and Cream coffee shop down the street. They've got traditional favorites like vanilla and chocolate, along with some more adventurous options like they have a strawberry basil sorbet, which sounds really good.
Ooh.
A blueberry goat cheese ice cream. I mean, these elevated flavors. There's one I wanted to try called Prairie Flower. Mixes lavender and honey ice cream with pieces of honeycomb candy. So just like a taste of Wisconsin prairie. And they also have dirty sodas, which they call magic sodas, I guess, sundaes and shakes. I'm always hearing about cool new things opening in Sun Prairie, like that Beans and Cream coffee shop. And there's like a cat cafe out there now. So I really want to check it out.
CityCast Sun Prairie, anyone?
Let's do it.
All the berries and fruity flavors, so good. Jade, I know you're bringing some fruit to our things to eat this July.
Yeah, so you both know that I am in my homegrown produce era. Farmer Jade has officially entered the chat, and I get most of my produce either from my small vegetable garden or my weekly farm share, but I am lacking in the berry department. So I am looking for local berry farmers to fill that need, but I want to participate in the harvest. So I'm looking to check out a couple You Pick berry patches this month and into August. Have either of you been to a You Pick farm?
I have not been berry picking since I was but a wee lad, so I will have to say no, but I love the idea, and I do remember loving picking berries when I was a small child.
Yeah, I remember taking the girls to a strawberry farm south of town, and it was like, it's great, although then it ruins you for store-bought strawberries.
And that's okay, in my opinion, you know? Madison Magazine has a great write-up with all the You Pick farms in the area, so I'll make sure to link that in the show notes. And before I get into like the couple of farms that I'm looking at, I have to say that we just missed strawberry You Pick season. In fact, one of the farms that I was looking at posted like an hour ago that the season was over and that it was a challenging one. They had the heavy spring frosts, the really extreme heat in May, a bunch of downpours in June, and then back to this crazy temperatures that we're having right now. So they are no longer doing strawberry You Picks, which means if you see pints of strawberries at the farmer's market this week, get them. They might be your last of the season. But meanwhile, blueberry and raspberry season is just beginning. So there's a couple of You Pick farms that I'm looking to venture out to this year. There is Small Folk in Mount Horeb. They offer You Pick blueberries and should be opening for the season very soon. This spot is sort of more of a small family farm feel, and they also sell chicken eggs, pasteurized chickens, and seasonal produce. And then Country Bumpkin Farm Market in the Wisconsin Dells is like, I think, exactly what you would expect from a farm stand in the Wisconsin Dells. It's an attraction aside from having the produce. So they have a raspberry and blueberry You Pick field, and then they also have play areas for kids that includes a petting zoo, as well as like equipment for them to play on.
You can get everything done at the berry farm. This has been so much fun. Thank you guys so much for rounding up all of these great things to do in July. It is a busy month. Stay hot, stay cool out there, Madison. Rob Thomas, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Haley.
And Jade Isiri Ramos, we'll see you on the next one.
See you next month.
That's all for today here on CityCast Madison. I'm executive producer Haley Sperling, sitting in for your host Bianca Martin. Don't forget, you can support this show and get some great perks by becoming a CityCast Madison neighbor. Just head to membership.citycast.fm. And hey, if you enjoyed today's show, why not share this episode with someone you'd love to pick berries with? Alrighty, we'll be back here tomorrow morning with more stories from around the city. So until then, take good care. Thanks for listening and stay cool this summer.